So I am going to start some sourdough starter. So I thought I would show you how I do this. So this would be considered day one. There was my grandson Roman. So you need about 120 fluid ounces of water and the same amount of flour. I do use wheat flour because it is better for the rising process to use the wheat flour, which 120 fluid ounces equals about a half a cup of water and a heaping cup of wheat flour or whatever kind of grain flour you want to use. But let me show you this. So here is my wheat flour. It's just whole wheat flour. And I've got about a half a cup of water and a heaping 1 cup of flour. And then I got a wide mouth jar. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mix it in here just to kind of keep the jar clean so I can see when it rises and when it falls. And you have to feed it every day for 6 days. So I'm just going to mix it in here and then I'll show you what I do. So this is what it looks like. It's just really gooey. So I'm going to transfer it into this jar. So you can use any kind of glass jar you want. You could have one that just has a glass lid that just kind of just sits on the top. However you want to do it. I'm actually going to use a piece of cheesecloth and then just put my ring on the top, and then we'll just let it sit for 24 hours, and then I need to make sure that it is rising up. Typically it doubles in size, and then we'll feed it again tomorrow. So this is day 2 of I need to feed my sourdough starter. And what I'm going to do is take half of this out, just discard it, and then the other half I will pour in here along with the same amount, the 120 milliliters of water, which is about a half a cup, and a full cup, heaping cup of the whole wheat flour, and I will mix it all up and then put it back in here to let it rise another 24 hours. So I fed it, mixed it up, and I put it back. I rinsed out the jar to clean it out, and then I put it back in there, and I'm just going to put my cheesecloth back on with the ring, and then I keep this on my stove because you want it near where it kind of stays warm. That way it rises up. My first batch, day 1 actually did almost double in rise, so we'll see how this one does, and then I'll come back tomorrow for day 3. So this is day 3 of feeding my sourdough starter. We did name her, and actually my kids named her Fred. So our sourdough starter is called Fred. So it did rise actually quite a bit. You can see where it came up and then fell back down. So that's really good. It's starting to do what it needs to do. So again, I'm going to do a heaping cup of flour, half a cup of water, and I'm going to remove half of this. I'm going to actually mix it in this and then clean this to where I have a clean jar to try and see where it rose and fell again. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. Don't mind, I just got some more food grade buckets with gamma lids for some more food storage I'm going to be doing. But yeah, I'm going to do day 3 of this. So this is what it looks like after I've mixed day 3 in. So I'm going to put it in my clean jar and then put my cheesecloth back on and set it on my stove because you want it to sit in a warmer spot. And then I'll come back tomorrow and feed it again. So it is day 4. I need to feed Fred again. Today I will actually be feeding it twice. Day 4, 5, and 6 is usually twice a day because you can tell it's risen a lot and it started coming down, so it needs to be fed more often. So day 4, this is my first feed today, and then I will do it again tomorrow or tonight. So this is day 4, first feed, kind of what it looks like. So I'm going to put it in a clean jar so I can see how much it rises and falls to make sure. I do need to feed it tonight, but I'm sure I will. So this is day 5 of feeding Fred, my sourdough starter. I did not feed it twice yesterday because it didn't rise enough. So it didn't look like it even needed to be fed last night. So I'm going to try to do it twice today. So I'm going to leave a half a cup of the starter in here and then mix in a cup of flour and about a half a cup of water, and then we'll let it sit again, and then I'll check it tonight to see if it needs to be fed again. So I've got the first feed on day 5 done, so I'm just going to set it on the stove and let it see if it rises enough for tonight. I would feed it again. So it's day 6 of my sourdough starter. I did not feed it on day 5 either because it did not look like it needed to be fed and I didn't want to mess up the process. But it did double in size today, and you can tell it's kind of liquidy in there. So I'm going to leave 3/4 of a cup in here and then mix another cup of water, half a cup of water, 1 cup of whole wheat flour, and then I will let it set overnight and then bake the bread tomorrow. So I started my sourdough bread. I am doing a double batch, and I did the first, you know, you got to add the wet ingredients with the starter, mix it well, and then you add the flour and the salt, and then you got, it doesn't look like bread dough yet. You got to let it sit with a covered damp towel, which I'm doing, for an hour at room temperature. And then I'll come back and knead it together, and then it has to rise for 8 to 10 hours before we can even bake it. So I got my loaf ready to go. I got a smaller one here. I got my Dutch oven in the oven, my cast iron one heating up. So, and then I will bake these. But we'll see how they turn out. I've never done this, so we're gonna find out if it turns out like it should. So the sourdough bread is done, and it came out like it's supposed to, hard on the outside, crunchy and soft on the inside. I did bake it in my Pioneer Woman Dutch oven. But yeah, this recipe, it works pretty good. So if you don't have yeast and you get your sourdough starter going, you will always not have to worry about never being able to find yeast. Like it was kind of rough a couple years ago trying to find yeast. But yeah, it tastes pretty good. The kids like it. They've already got into the smaller loaf here. So yeah, I will link the recipe below.